Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. It is Wednesday. You know what that means? That means we bring on Matt, the mortgage guy. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Is time moving faster? Does every Wednesday come around more
It's
often?
just, it's like every other day. It's just every other day is Wednesday. Hey, so one of the things I want to do is, and I've known I wanted to do with you since the weekend. So I've been trying to figure out what housing in 2029 might look like, right? You and I once looked at 50 years of history, but I want to take a prediction on 2029. We're going to obviously need to assume income growth, house appreciation, and then the big bugaboo is going to be interest rates, right? Those are going to be kind of the three variables that go into this soup. So I want to share with you my logic, how I got there. But before we do that, I need you to define people what a front end ratio is, because that is what I used in my spreadsheet. Why don't you define what that is and why you use that as a quick rule of thumb?
Okay. Yeah. In mortgage, we got a front end ratio and a back end ratio, and it's fairly simple. Hopefully I understand it well enough to give a simple explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Your income versus your mortgage payment.
Yep.
That's a front end ratio. You've got 5,000 in income and you've got a $2,000 mortgage payment. You've got 40% front end. You probably don't want it that high. Let's call it a $1,500 payment. Yep. And you've got a 30% front end ratio, but it's an important ratio, and lenders look at both front end and back end, but like that's your mortgage payment. That's what is always going to continue. Some of the stuff that goes in the back end, like your other debts, those might ebb and flow. You might pay some things off.
Yeah. And I want to again talk about the front end ratio, because I get heat from people that look at this and they go, you're not taking into account insurance and rising taxes and this, that, and the other thing. The front end ratio is gross, or is it gross or net monthly income?
It's gross. It's gross if you're a W-2 employee. Yeah.
Gross monthly income, mortgage payment. That's it. No taxes, no insurance. Doesn't matter if it's 2021 or 2029. The front end ratio is gross monthly and the mortgage payment, correct?
Right. And you're saying no taxes, but like on the mortgage payment, we're figuring that's the PITI.
Okay. So you have PITI. Yeah. So you do have mortgage payment, insurance, taxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right. So I may have to add that somewhere in my spreadsheet because I only have the mortgage payment. But
okay. You just got P&I in there.
I just got P&I.
Okay.
How would you do that nationally speaking? Do you have a way of ruling? Because I know California does this and Texas does that.
Well, yeah, it would be really hard. You'd probably just want to take an average, right? Because like 1.25% in California, Texas might be 2%. And I don't even know the other states, like what theirs is. But okay. Yeah, maybe it's just like a blended. That would be tough.
Yeah. Can you by next Wednesday, can you again, I want a blended average. If it's 1 point, I don't know what it is. I can guarantee you this. It's not 0, which is what I have today. So yeah. And it's not 3%. It's somewhere in between that. I need a blended average.
Okay. I'll find that. You can task me with that.
Thank you. I figured you'd have much better access than me.
Cool. All right.
And it's just the TI, obviously. Yeah.
Got my homework assignment written down.
Cool. Well, let me share with you what I've done, and we'll just get into this. I think it's this one. I've been playing with this because I'm trying to figure out if houses is going to explode and be unaffordable. So I'm going to go through this rather quickly because I try to use logic to get to where I want to get to. So the first question was, you know what? Let's ask you this question. Do you think we ever had a decade where interest rates rose, meaning from 70 to 79, 80 to 89, not individually in the years, but like start, end? Do you think we ever had a year where rates were higher at the end than the beginning?
That's a good one. I mean, the way you're posing it, like me and my wife play poker, so I'm trying to get a read. It's like where the way you're posing it, and your tone tells me that like there wasn't. But if you would have asked me that, just on and put it on a quiz, I'd have been like, yeah, of course there has. Like maybe 70 to 79, they went from 8 to 10 or something.
You nailed it. 70 to 79 is the only decade where rates went up, and you were really close. They went from 8.5 to 11.2.
That was awesome. I'm pretty freaking proud of myself. If I do nothing else good today, I nailed that.
You can go home. You're done.
Yeah, right. I'm checking out.
Yeah, this is funny. But so the other thing that's really interesting that people just don't get is not only did interest rates go up 3 points or 32%. Look at housing. Wow. It went up 103%.
Wow, it doubled.
Yeah, just think about this. If you were a landlord in 1970 and you had 30-year fixed rate money, how much are you loving life in 79? Pretty darn good, right?
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first time. That's the only time it happened. That means 80 to 89, they were lower. 90 to 99, they were lower, so on and so forth. Okay. So then I figured out, okay, income, right? A big question that you and I uncovered when we did the 50 years is income drives real estate. And it's really fast, right? Income up one year, housing up the next year. Remember that?
Yeah.
So what I did is I averaged income increase again, 70 to 79, 80 to 89. And look at these jumps. People are saying that incomes aren't rising. They're rising. I mean, every decade they've been up, at least 25%.
Wow. And so this is from that 2010 average, 2019 average. That's it's just looking at median income.
Median income family of four. So
Yeah.
I think it's fair to assume probably after the 90s, it's two incomes. In the 80s, it's probably half two incomes. 70s, I'm going to guess a lot of single incomes, but I don't know that for sure.
Right. Yeah. It's cool to just look at the data to think about like, wow, what was it 2000 to 2009? And I think it, if people think about it for a second, like 2010 was a rough year for a lot of people, 2009, 2010. And so
those years were negative. They were actually, look at that, from 2009, it was 52, 2010 it's 48. Income went down year to year. And again, you will see that if you looked at my 50-year spreadsheet.
Right.
Okay. All right. This is fun. So then what I did is, what's the income? I just did the math, right? I took those 5 averages, blended them. They become basically 51%. In 2020, because the year's done, right? I can go back and get that number. It was 78,500. I do the math. It's now 118 grand. I know people, they're going to go, oh my God, how can the median income be 118 grand? No, nobody's going to do that. Well, actually, if you back into it with 2 incomes and then do the math on hourly wage, it's only $28 an hour.
And 2021, you got Chick-fil-A and Amazon paying near $20 an hour.
Exactly. This is like 8 years from now. Yeah.
So think of 8 years from now, and at least one person working, in a lot of cases too. Like, yeah, that doesn't seem.
Yeah, it does. I saw that number first off. I'm like, my spreadsheet's broken. But then I broke it down to hourly wage. I'm like, 28.50, 8 years from now. Yeah, I could see that.
Oh, you know what I think you did too, right? This is $28.50 per person, with assuming 2 people working.
Correct. It's
okay.
2 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's 2 people. $28.50. Yeah. 118 divided by 2 divided by 2080, which is how many hours in a full-time week.
Right.
Yeah. So that's pretty. So that number feels okay to me, right? When you take 50% times the start, it didn't feel crazy high. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just in awe of your stats, man. I want to get to a point in my life where I'm retired, half retired like Zuber, where I can have all this time to do fun stuff like this.
Yeah, solve riddles. That's all I'm doing. I'm solving riddles.
Yeah. So is this why we're investing in real estate, so we can have time to do the fun stuff like Zuber does? Yeah,
you solve math equations, Zuber time. So the other thing I asked, here's another question for you. You got the first one right. Has there ever been a decade where wages went up more than housing? Remember the 70s, they went up 103% for housing, and incomes were 88, I think. So it's not the 70s.
Okay. I don't know if they're fairly closely correlated, then maybe not.
All right, well, let's look. One time, the 90s, housing went up 36%, incomes went up 36 and housing went up 27.
Wow.
Only decade that happened. And again, that kind of makes sense to me, right? Housing's a leveraged business, right? Because every dollar that you have coming to the bottom line, you're only using a portion of that for your mortgage payment.
Right.
But yeah, housing went up 27 and incomes went up basically 36 in the 90s.
And that was like in a environment where rates were even coming down.
Yeah. And rates went down from 10 to 7%. Yeah. Yeah. Rates went down 26%. Pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. So then what's the median house price? Same math, right? Take the blended average. The median for 270, or the median in 2020 was 270. That means the median home in 2029 is going to be 423. That hurts my head a little bit, going, oh my God, the national average is 423 grand.
Right. Yeah. When you're averaging in Detroit and Montgomery, Alabama, and everything else, because in California, it's a smoking deal, but national average.
It's not even a burned down wreck in San Mateo's. That went for 925 or something.
Right. Yeah. You can go halves on a piece of land. Exactly.
So now all of this is basically getting to, is housing going to be affordable in 29? So here's the math. Actually, I did even more. So here's the math. Everything is the same on this spreadsheet except 2 rows. The interest rate, which is the second row, I guess the third row, it goes from 3 to 10%. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
And then the payment obviously changes. And then I guess the front end ratio changes, which is payment and gross. Again, not including insurance and taxes, which you'll get me.
So I'll get you that. And you know what else I want to get you? I don't know if you have it, but I'm interested in it now, is what the average front end ratio is. Cause there's got to be data out there for conventional, for FHA.
I would
just
love
so people know, because people might look at this and be like, oh my gosh, 25% front end ratio. That's a fourth of your income. If they knew that the average person who buys a house has a front end ratio of 34 or something.
Yeah. Cause if I had that, I would star that at the top and go, hey, we're going to get yes answers most of the time when you're below this.
Yeah. And I bet that number is high 30s, 36 and below. I can tell you with certainty, you're going to get a lot of yes answers. And a lot of people, if they've got good credit and other factors are good, are getting yes answers up to like a 40% front end ratio. Yeah, not endorsing it, not saying that's something that you
not saying it's a good idea.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do in this example, because again, I am clearly missing TI, right? Taxes, insurance. I'm going to assume anything below 30% is a yes answer. Right.
That's a good assumption.
I would just assume that, right? So again, what's remarkable to me is we are affordable up to an 8% 30-year mortgage. And that, frankly, I did not, when I do these math exercises, I have a guess what they will be. And I got to tell you, I did not think we were going to be affordable at 8% interest.
Right. Yeah. And, I'll pour a little bit of flavor on this from a mortgage broker's perspective. I wouldn't be surprised if rates went up in the next few years. I'd be very surprised. And I don't know if me and you have talked about this specifically, if they were above 6%. There's a lot of people that think that rates might stay below 5% like forever. And you look at other economies and what they've done with interest rates. It's possible. It's possible that this is just a new normal with interest rates. And
for me, the magic number is 5. I could see, because again, what I see the Fed doing, I think the Fed can get up to about 1.5 on the Fed funds rate. And that will just be a huge break on the economy. And then you add in some margin and this, that, and the other thing. And pretty soon we get up in the high 4s. For me, anything above 5, at least in the next 3 years, I scratch my head going, I don't think so. But again, I don't know. I mean, again, we have a time. We did the 50-year spreadsheets. Rates went up 800 basis points before. They have. When inflation takes over and we averaged 8% inflation in the 70s, they had to kill it. And in 82, it went to 16.6 or something. So it can happen. That's why I did this all the way up to 10%.
Cool, man. This is interesting stuff to look at.
Yeah. So again, you get it 5%. And again, a lot of this is incomes. And then it really goes down to, can people make 20, again, median income, not starting wages, not first time teenager wages. The median income is $28.48 an hour for a full-time employee. That doesn't seem hard to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, people make more money every year, and those who just like wages aren't keeping up or this, that, and the other, like the data shows.
Yeah. I got
wage inflation. Like,
I got 5 decades of it, man.
Wages are going up and they will continue to go up. That's just how it works.
Yeah. Very cool. So again, the front end ratio, I need to add TI, which you'll get me. We're going to add the average front end ratio, which will be very helpful to me going forward. So if you're in California, you want to refi or purchase in California, you need to reach out to Matt, the mortgage guy. How you want them to do that?
Shoot me an email, matt@mattthemortgageguy.com. That way it does not get missed. The team is on it. We will respond to you if you've got, specific questions on your mortgage. If, whatever it is, just send it over. And our goal is to respond to you within 24 hours, whether we need to put you on a phone call, whether we need to collect some documents and review your, current mortgage statement, whatever it is. Just start there, Matt, matt@mattthemortgageguy.com.
And the other thing is, you are a member of my course and the private Facebook group. So I occasionally tag you. And oh, by the way, I tagged you about 30 minutes ago on somebody doing an LA ADU or something. So I tagged you in the Facebook group just to let you know you have some homework there as well.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll go take a look. I pop in there and there's good folks in there, good conversation going on in there. So try to add some value where I can.
Yeah, they love you. They appreciate all you do. So again, Matt@mattthemortgageguy.com. Thanks, brother.
Yep. Good talking to you, Mike.